Hey guys, I wanted to go over a hand I played at Parks Casino about a week ago. Uh, this stuff is not going to be super mind-blowing to a lot of the more veteran players, but I think we can talk about this spot, which is a pre-flop spot that simply just needs to get out of your game if you're going to be a profitable player at these stakes, at any stakes really. And I want to go over sort of two main ideas that will probably come back to bite me in if people start really thinking about it, because these types of mistakes are where a ton of my edge actually comes from. But the ideas would be why it's important to be aggressive and how everything in poker rewards aggression. So you're constantly teetering on this fine line of aggression and over aggression, because if you get too aggressive, and you know the players that get too aggressive, they are sort of easily punishable by just letting them over aggress, and then they put the money in bad too often. But for the players who are right on that fine line of perfect aggression, they're extremely hard to play against because they don't put their money in bad often enough. The other part of this, the other side of the coin, I guess you could say, is fold equity. Now, I'm not going to bring up any calculators or solvers for this hand because this is a pre-flop spot, and I just want. Well, we're going to show the flop, but it's gonna. Going to show the flop to further point out my idea. But when you're constructing your range pre-flop, you have to understand that you're not playing your hand, you're playing your range. And I know that every coach in the world says this about poker, but you need to really start thinking about this and not playing your hand. So I'll just begin the hand, and then we could sort of go over the mistakes that I think all my opponents made, except for the main villain who wins the hand. The main villain, which is the small blind, he's a pro, and I talked to him like that week I was there a lot, and you'll see why he's probably a pro, why he's probably crushing the game, and why these other guys are not. The other guys in the hand were two young Asian kids that were very aggressive and definitely knew what they were doing, but they clearly had some leaks, and you'll see it exemplified here. There was a straddle right here, actually. So the first villain raises the 30, so it's 2 5 10. He raises to 30, and it folds to me on the button with 8 9. Now I know that he's been playing overly aggressive, so I'm pretty sure, and he will fold pre-flop a lot. I do not want to play multi-ways with 8-9 suited, so I go ahead and 3-bet 8-9, which is a lower frequency 3-bet, and it's totally fine. I 3-bet to 100, and this is when the hand gets dicey. Villain number two, which I'll call the solid pro, although I think he's was a little spewy and definitely had leaks, but he's definitely someone who's beaten the game. He cold four bets to 365. Might have been 370. Can't remember exact numbers, but nonetheless, it was pretty big. We were about 1200 deep, and the big blind cold calls the the first raiser calls, and I actually folded. Um, I don't really like my hand here. I don't think that small blinds balanced enough. I think this is definitely a call a lot of the times, but I elected to just make a really tight fold. I'm sort of done giving people action unless you could show me that you're balanced enough in like any given spot. I'm not giving you action anymore. I'm sorry, and I'm just gonna make a tight fold with ace nine suited. The flop comes king eight five, two spades, small blind jams. I don't know why my hand came up again, and they both fold. And I just want to show. Oh, it doesn't show villains. It doesn't show first villain's hand. But he had pocket jacks also. This guy showed, and this guy claimed he had pocket jacks. So just put the other jacks in here. And this is what I want to talk about. Okay. Remember he folded, so he wins with ace seven. He had a flush draw, which is fine getting in here, but he could be pretty much doing it with his full range. And now I know that he's three betting light. And I saw that this is sort of a theme I saw throughout the week. He was sort of three and four betting lighter than normal. I don't know. He got punished once, like hard against kings once, in the same spot where I was gonna call him off with ace queen suited, but it didn't really matter. He's still a solid player, and I like this. But I just want to go over really quickly why pocket jacks here. You're just absolutely butchering this pot with both of these guys that have pocket jacks. Okay, you have to remember you're playing your range. So this player's range is not just a7 and not like just pocket jacks. Let's just say his range is all the hands that he's raising with pre-flop. So he has the range advantage because he has all the ace kings. Now look, you just got bluffed off a pot, especially if you're here when you have a jack of spades. So there's one less spades and it could come runner. Well, it can't come runner against his specific hand, but it doesn't really matter. The point I'm trying to make is be aggressive. You have pocket jacks. There's only three hands that are better than you, and you're flipping, I guess, with ace king and sort of with ace, and you are with ace queen. But like, let's ignore those two hands. Like you have the fourth best hand in poker. Okay, start four betting it and putting this in your four bet range, because now you're just playing your hands and you're at the mercy of the board. If the board comes ace, king, or queen high, you auto lose. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Whereas, let's just say, and this is gonna sort of pound on the point of fold equity. Okay, you're under the gun because there was a you're here, okay, because there was a straddle. Your under the gun raising range is really tight. Then you get cold forward. What if you just cold five? I think pocket jacks plays good as a cold five bluff because you have enough equity in case someone flats, which I mean flatting a five bet, but like and people want to say, well, you're not balancing your five bet range. You're not. There shouldn't even have a five bet range. You're going potentially four ways to a flop, and you're over 200. What was it? 200 something big blinds deep. Even though we can make the argument that you're less because of the straddle. Like just put your jacks into your bluffing range, and you're gonna not let someone like this pile drive you and overrun you. Even if he didn't have the spades, let's just say he had an ace of spades, seven of anything, he could still probably jam here, and you're folding out everything. Your share of the pot is more than just your pure equity, but it's plus the fold equity. And this is why aggression gets rewarded in especially no limit hold'em, because he just made two pocket jacks fold to him. And like honestly, that's just sad. Like you're if you're folding jacks here, if you're playing jacks like this, you're probably playing queens like this, and to get out for your queens to get outplayed that hard by a7 is just the way that you're just gonna leak money all over the place pre-flop. Because if you're making this type of mistake pre with jacks, you're also making many other mistakes. And this is why people don't like jacks, because they're clueless in how to play middle strength hands. The the best players in poker play their middle strength hands the best. They don't overplay them and they don't underplay them. They play them exactly how you should. They're not going to pile it in when they have jacks, but they're also going to be making equitable bluffs like I just mentioned with 5 bet. So when you think about constructing your range, remember you're playing range versus range, not hand versus range. You need to start thinking about that. And that's why when you start playing range versus range, you're gonna like jacks more and more, because you're not gonna get into that fish mindset of I don't know how to play jacks. It's the worst hand. It's the hardest to play. It's not hard to play. You just don't know how to play your range. You're only playing your hand. And this will happen to people for literally their entire career. They will still be playing their hand and not their range. And that's how you fail at poker. So that's the hand. Remember, this guy had jacks too. If you have any, and I know this isn't mind blowing stuff, but I just wanted to Hammer it home because a lot of you guys are only playing your hand, and it's so obvious when a player like me sits at your table and you're betting and you're making sizing mistakes and pre-flop mistakes. I am. It is so obvious to me when you're doing it, and you just get punished, especially from aggressive players that don't care about putting 200 big blinds in. Anyways, that's the video. Like and subscribe. Let me know. Thank you.